Good afternoon. It's around noon on January 4th. Today, I have my to do list up right here. You probably can't read it, it's blurry. But what it says is I'm going to set up the first evaluation and run it through. Yesterday, I ended up collecting some of the data just for some context on this project. There's dozens of tools right now that the LLM can call, and that means I have to set up evaluations for each of those tools to validate that they're working, and as I iterate on the prompts and swap out to different models, I won't see any regressions. And I've set up an initial sample size data set. I was able to collect that information with the data collection tool, or create the data set via the data collection tool I set up yesterday. And so now I'm just going to actually run through that evaluation, see what the results look like, and actually start critiquing not the output of the initial LLM, but the LLMs as judge, and making sure they're judging correctly. I don't want to depend too heavily on them if I haven't verified myself. So I'm just going to do some manual review on the outputs and tweak the prompts for the LLM as judge. Should be something pretty quick, but after this is set up, I'll have pretty much everything in place to just keep setting up or keep feeding in more data to then collect, to then do evaluations on, and I'll be confident in the scores. And then after I'm confident in the scores, I'll eventually move on, eventually being either today or tomorrow, to completely reworking the actual initial LLM AI generation for this feature. And I'll probably get more into detail of how I'm going to do that when I actually do it. But yeah, it should be a light day, I think, or some light work, I should say. It's really just about manually verifying, slow, boring, but something that needs to get done. So let's get to it. All right, finishing up most of the code that I'm going to be writing for today. I ended up going through the pipeline when running these evaluations, and I found a couple inconsistencies when it came to the types. Lesson of the day: don't forget about the types. There's a bug that popped up because there was just an inconsistent type being used in the data collection export and then the eval input, and that just brought up the flag of like, hey, these should all be centralized, reused, and adjusted the test for that. Also, just updated some of the naming and some of the like code structure so that future evaluations are easy to just insert. But that wasn't really the main focus of today. The main focus is just going through this evaluation pipeline. It's running right now, and manually reviewing some of the or the outputs of the initial LLM generation, and then seeing if the LLM as judge is properly scoring it. It's kind of like a chicken and egg problem, just like in general when you're talking about this data generation, or like making sure that the quality of the data, the generated data, is good, because you need a data set, but where do you get the data set? Well, if you're bootstrapping, you can, if you're scrappy, you can scrape it from somewhere, but let's say it's like something that's pretty unique. You can use an LLM to generate the data set, but how do you know that data set is good without having an actual data set to compare it to? And that's where just some manual elbow grease comes in handy, and it just needs to be done. Like I said earlier, it's just some boring work. Basically what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can move the camera just for you to see real quick, because I don't feel like having to set up my screen share. So we have all these dimensions of different like scores, LLM scores, and I'm just going through. I just added a new score, and then as I'm going through evaluating the output of the initial LLM, I'm checking if I should add a new score or maybe adjust some of the prompts for the original ones. And I'm just going to be doing this. I don't expect this to add too much code or be a lot of code additions, or really just a lot of manual boring work, but it just has to be done. As far as stats for the day, it was about in like an hour and 26 minutes, or actually, yeah, an hour and 29 minutes. And then let me commit this to see how many. 330 insertions and 908 deletions. And Lord knows I love when I delete code. I prefer it way more than adding code, so this is great, especially when the feature functionality stays the same or increases. So, yep, that's everything for today. I'm gonna keep doing some of this manual, boring elbow grease work, but hopefully it doesn't take too long, and I will see you tomorrow.